Fluent Control Scheduler, and then there will also be one about Introspect and Deacon Connect.
And I think everyone's in listen-only mode by default. This is Jason Meredith here. So if you do have any questions while Rachel is presenting, then please type them in the chat and we'll get to the question at the appropriate time. Thanks a lot.
Yes, thank you. Okay, so who am I? I'm Rachel. I moved to Switzerland from the Netherlands about 8 years ago almost to do my PhD in plant breeding at the ETH in Zurich. And after doing that, I joined a TCAN in 2018. And I started in the product support and training department doing EvoWare support and giving EvoWare software trainings. And then in 2020, I moved to Fluent Control. I did some Fluent Control support. And then I had a baby. And after I came back from maternity leave in July of last year, I joined the product management team as the product manager for Fluent Control. And down here on the slide, you can see the team members of the product management team. Jason Meredith, who you just heard, is the head of that team. He's responsible for EvoWare and drivers mainly. Then we have my colleague Michelle Anliker, who is also partly responsible for Fluent Control and also other software products. And we have Michelle Eichele, who is responsible for Introspect and Deacon Connect and other digital software offerings we have. Yeah, so that's our team. So today I'm going to talk to you about Fluent Control. I'm going to explain what it is. I have some videos for you. I want to demo the software a little bit, just for you to get a good impression of what the software can do. So first of all, if you see a Fluent, I don't know if you can all see my mouse, I hope you can. If you have a Fluent, by standard, it comes with an attached touch screen. So here at the front, you can see a touch screen, and on there we run touch tools. So this is the interface that the operator of the Fluent sees and that they interact with, and it's very, very intuitive and very customizable. You can show pictures, videos, and make it really, really easy to operate the instrument and run a script. And to show you how easy it is, I'm actually going to go right into a demo. I'm going to start Fluent Control. So let's start the software. And I just want to show you how you can log in into Fluent Control with a touch screen, and then also how you can start a run there and how easy it is to click through the different steps of a run. So now Fluent Control is starting up. You can already log in from the startup screen if you want to, but I'm just waiting a little bit longer because then it will also show me, or I'm going to pick it from the other monitor. It will show you the touch screen. So this is just a window representing that touch monitor that you see here on the instrument. So if I click to start, this is what the operator sees when he first powers everything on. And you just simply click on your picture to log in. And then you can use the keyboard on the touchscreen, or you can just type. And then the software is starting up. I'm expecting to get a warning message because I'm using a driver that's not released for using clinical diagnostics, which is okay. And then here in the background, now you can see Fluent Control proper. So this big window in the back is the interface that key operators, like really specialists, would use to program scripts and methods and so on. Now it's searching for an instrument. I'm in home office, so I don't have an instrument. So I'm going to simulate one. And if you don't have an instrument, the software will prompt you if you want to simulate one. So I'll simulate one. And right now it's going to simulate a large Fluent with a liquid handling arm, with a multi-channel arm, and also with a robotic gripper arm. So this is the window, the touchscreen window that the operator would see. And there are two possibilities, as you can see here. I can go into system care, or I can start a method. And in my case, you see that system care is blinking orange, meaning that I have some system care to run. Right now, it's overdue, and the system is reminding me to run it. So let's click here. And you can see that this particular method that's showing up here, I might have different methods, but in my case I have only one, is flashing orange. That's the one that I need to run. So let's click it. And in the background, you can see Fluent Control starting up a method, but the operator would just only see this. The instrument is now initializing. I'll take a little bit to initialize all the arms. You can see a progress bar down here. Of course, if I would have an instrument connected, I could see the arms moving on the actual Fluent. And I just have to wait for initialization to finish. And then I will be able to start this daily system care protocol. So you can see here already that there's a really nice picture showing to me of what I have to do. I have to clean disposable tip adapters. So it's a very visual guide for the operator. If I've done that, I can click next page. I really have to acknowledge each step as an operator. And now it's prompting me to empty the disposable waste. And it's just guiding me through all of the steps of the maintenance on the instrument that I have to do. And you can customize this very, very much to suit whatever protocol needs to be run on there, and just really sort of incorporate your standard operating procedures into visual guides for your operators. It's telling me to align the robotic gripper fingers as well, and checking the multi-channel head adapter plate, and so on and so forth. And when it's finished, it asks me, did I complete all the steps? So once again, to have the user confirm, yeah, I'm interacting with the instrument, I'm seeing what I have to do, I've done it. And then the run finishes successfully. And I've done my system care. And you can see if I go back here, oh, cancel. I go back to this main window, it's no longer reminding me in orange to run this. So very, very easy. So let's go back to the slides. So here I have some pictures of other touch interface examples. I might also prompt the user to select certain wells or number of samples that the protocol has to run with. I can also do sort of work table setup guide with them, showing them pictures of the lab where it needs to be placed on the work table, and so on and so forth. So it's really intuitive. So as I said, TouchTools is really sort of dedicated to the operator. And if you can use the touchscreen, you can also run everything. You can also do method recovery. But what's also really nice is that Fluent Control offers an active stop and resume, which allows operators to also intervene at any time. So if you open the Fluent Control door, all the arms will stop moving and you can do an intervention. And I have a little video to show you to illustrate that. Let me grab the video. It's on this screen. Let me just restart it. So somebody is placing some tips on the deck, or she's forgetting her phone, which she doesn't notice. Starting the method. And now there's no audio, but the phone is ringing right now. And see, she just opens the door, everything stops. She closes the door again, and the run simply continues. So it's really, really, really easy. Method recovery is also very easy. So if you have a method that was aborted for whatever reason, also if you have in the meantime power cycled and then start up Fluent Control again, you can recover that method. And if you have a method that needs recovering, TouchTools will show you like that in orange. And you can press this to recover the method. And I can just show you a few slides about the look of that. So it would first on the touchscreen show you, okay, the run was aborted at this particular script line, this aspirate line. And then you can look at the work table state at that moment and check if everything is still in place correctly. If you maybe need to move, I don't know, plates to previous location or whatever before the run can continue. And then you can run recovery. And the touchscreen will just show you that it's running again. And then the run finishes with warnings because the run has been recovered. It's kind of standard. And then you're back here again. Okay, so let's move on to Fluent Control itself, so no longer the touchscreen. We have, first of all, a work table editor that is really, really flexible. And Let me just show you here on the next slide. This is the work table editor, and it's in 3D. I can play this and you can see it's in 3D. You can drag it around, look at it from all angles, highlight and select different items on there to get more information. And you can very easily build up the work table in this 3D representation. And you can also stack labware on top of labware and carriers of labware if you wanted to. It's very flexible. The work table allows something we call Pathfinder, which controls the RGA arm, the robotic gripper arm, to move around the work table. And Pathfinder allows the RGA arm to find the optimal path through any work table. So if you start up, for example, with this work table layout and the arm has to go to that plate, it will just go there directly. But then if you just only edit the work table to add, for example, which is quite strange to do, but add a hotel there in the middle, Pathfinder knows to send the arm in front of that hotel. Or even if you have these bits that are sticking out, this is an active nest for the multiple channel arm, Pathfinder can even send the RGA through those obstacles if there is enough space. And also below the deck, if you have a centrifuge down there or anything like that, Pathfinder can deal with that easily as well. So you really don't have to think about vectors or anything like that. Just build up your work table when you're ready to go. Fluent Control is also teach-free. So it's delivered with a database with default labware and carriers that can be just used immediately after installation. And you can see in the software that there's a little lock symbol on certain items in the database, carriers and labware and so on. And these cannot be edited. So they are really optimal as we deliver them. They are ready to use, and you're sure that they are not changed by anybody afterwards. So that really allows for less setup time and also to move methods between different Fluents without having to go and tweak a lot of things. What is not teach-free as such is positioning non-grid-based devices, so like centrifuges below the deck or readers next to the deck or also below the deck. These things are not teach-free, but they are very easy to set up anyway because we have something called zero-G positioning. So you can set any arm to what we call zero-G mode, and then you can, with your hand, move the arm around to whatever location, for example, exactly where the centrifuge is, and then say to the software, this is where the centrifuge is, and the software will remember and use that. So I have a little video about that as well to show you how easy that is. So here we go. So first, this person in Fluent Control is executing a direct command to have here the RGA grab a plate. And this is just so that there's a plate in there while he is going to teach that centrifuge that you see on the bottom. So he's going in, it's in zero-G mode now. He's just moving the arm around and carefully positioning the plate onto the bucket of the centrifuge. And he's happy with the position, tells the software, okay, I'm ready, this is the position. And he closes the door, and now in the software he will tell the RGA arm to return that labware from teaching. So just to get it out of the centrifuge again and put it back on the work table. And the software can now, with that just easy zero-G teaching, already grab the plate and put it back on the work table. So also very minimum effort there. So now let's go to the next arm, flexible channel arm, or the FCA for short. And then also the other third arm possibility, the multiple channel arm, or NCA for short. Let's go just through some things that you can do with these arms as well. For example, you can make scripting much faster and easier with the powerful smart commands for the FCA. So these are meant for very common pipetting tasks, such as reagent distribution or sample transfer from plate to plate, or aliquoting and making replicates. And you just have to use only one command And then you can tell the software about your source plate, your destination plate, the number of replicates, etc. And you don't need to write any loops or think about variables in any way. The software takes care of that all in the background during the run. We also have some more smart commands really targeted at specific applications. So as an example here, I have a slide about quantitation normalization. So we have some commands that make your life very easy if you have to load a standard curve and then normalize samples or dilute them even at the end. So here you can see a very simple workflow. These commands on the top here, they are touch tools commands, so they show things to the operator at runtime on the touch screen. And that way you can make quite complicated workflows very easy to program with just a few very powerful commands in the software. The flexible channel arm also allows hit picking through work listing. So you can define which samples are of interest to you in an Excel sheet. And then the software can convert that Excel sheet into a GWL file is what it's called. And just use the information from that file to cherry pick samples from different plates and put them into one plate for cherry picking. And you don't have to think when you work listing about, can my channels reach those positions? Is channel 1 used for that sample? Can it reach that particular place where that sample is? The software is going to take care of that, all of that for you. So then the MCA, multiple channel arm, you can, during a run, with a very simple command, switch between fixed tip blocks and disposable tips, really in a few seconds, and also switch formats. So you can switch between the 384 format and the 96 format just with a single command in the software. And of course, you can use this arm for serial dilutions, plate stamping. You can pick up partial tips, so only rows of a box or only columns of a box. And you can work in a volume range of 250 nanoliters to half a milliliter, all with one arm. So just to recap a little bit, Fluent Control offers a very easy to understand, easy to program and modify scripts. The platform is teach-free, and even adding non-grid based carriers is really easy because of G teaching mode. And basically, if the hardware can do something, the software will be able to do it as well. So I just wanted to now go into Fluent Control and start writing a little script with you together, just to show you how easy this is. So let's go back to Fluent Control. The first thing I'm going to do is just quickly open the 3D simulator because that takes a little time to load sometimes. So let's have a look at this graphical user interface. I hope it's not too small. I already lowered my screen resolution, so I hope you can all see it. And just quickly...
There was one question in the chat, sorry Rachel. By default, the front cover has locks. If we want to have the possibility to open it, we should disable locks in Fluent Setup service software. But I think actually the door sensors are there by default. So when you open the door, it triggers a fast open, and a door lock, which actually keeps the door closed, is an optional. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah, the door locks are optional. The door sensors are always there. Exactly.
Sorry to interrupt.
I do not see the questions. I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but if you have a question...
There's a separate questions tab, but I'll keep an eye on them and let you know.
Maybe you can. I have the questions tab open, but I still don't see a question. Anyway, let's move on. So just quickly about the Fluent Control interface, there are roughly 2 parts. So here on the left, you have a control bar. Well, actually 3 parts. A control bar up here, an info pad down here, and then here is where we edit things. So first of all, here in the control bar, I have methods, scripts, commands for different arms, work tables, and so on and so forth. And let's just create a work table and use it in a script. So I click on work tables, and I just simply double click here on new to open a new work table. And you can see here a new tab opens. And Fluent Control it's a really flat interface. So you don't have pop-up windows at all. You have tabs. You can always go between the different tabs, back and forth. Very nice and easy. So let's have a look. So this work table now opened, and this window kind of split in two. So I have here up here an area that I don't need. If I was writing a script, this would be where my script lines would go. And then down here, I have the graphical representation of the work table. And as we've already seen in the presentation, you can drag it around and look at it from whatever angle you want, even from the bottom. And that's your work table. And here on the front, you have all the grid numbers. And the standard work table comes with this thing, which is a wash and waste station. This is a waste chute. There's a wash station back there. And over here, we have a trough carrier. So let's put some things on there. Let's first add some nests to have disposable tips. So I can go here in carriers into deck segments. And then here I can find a 4 FCA DT nest. So these abbreviations, we use them a lot, right? FCA stands for flexible channel arm. That's your 8-channel liquid handling arm. DT stands for disposable nest, and 4 is just that there are 4 positions for this carrier. So I'm dragging it on, and there we go. So I have 4 positions for disposable tips. Now let's also add some nests for microplates. So let's here grab a 4 landscape 61mm nest, and 61mm is about the height of these nests. See, these are quite tall. We also have 7mm nests. They are lower. They look like that. And you can see all these segments just sit wherever I want them to sit. And you can also just drag them to a different position. And also physically on the Fluent Worktable deck, you can just click and remove them and physically move them to a different place on the worktable. Really, really easy. So I have these nests for microplates, and I also want to add a hotel to the work table. And hotels live in the back here. And you can see if I highlight these areas, I have sort of a ghost of a possible item that I can place there. And in this case, I need a grid segment, and I actually need a back extension, 20 grid back extension. So I just also drag it on there, and there's my back extension. I could extend the entire back of this instrument if I wanted to, like so. And I can place hotels on here. So I can just navigate right with these things in the control bar, but I can also just click on a location on my work table. So let's click on this deck extension pin here, click, and then here on the left in the control bar, the software will show me only those items that are allowed to place there. So in this case, it's hotels mainly. And let's just grab a 9-nest hotel and put it there. So I am now building up this work table, and I'm at this stage only adding those things to it that are not going to be moved around during a run. So all the carriers, I'm also going to add the disposable tips because they are commonly not moved around either. They're usually always in the same place. So let's add some 1000 microliter tips. And again, I don't know if you saw, but I clicked on the site, and then just this list of possibilities opened up with different sizes of tips. So let's add some 200 microliters, maybe some 50 microliter tips, and 10 microliter tips. And something that's also not really moved around in runs either are troughs. So let's click on here and add some troughs to my work table. I'm going to press the Control key now and drag this trough to copy it. I don't have to go into the control bar each time I need the same item. And this is where I'll stop. So all the microplates I'm going to add at the script level because they might change from run to run, but this will usually stay the same, meaning that I can use this work table in multiple scripts. So let's save it. I'll just here click rename and then give it a better name. Webinar work table. And now I save it. And now I'm going to use that one in a script. So let's go in here, scripts, and double click new. And you see here another tab opens. And I can still go back to this tab with my work table. But now I'm interested in this one. So again, 2 sections. The work table's down there. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller, zooming out a little bit. And this is where I'm going to add my commands later. But first, I want to use that work table that I just created in this script. So I'm going to here open up this little part here. And right now, the script is using that work table called base work table. But let's go to that work table that I just created with you, webinar work table. And there it is. So let's also rename the script quickly and then we just save everything. Webinar script, for example. Save. Okay, and now I'm going to place some microplates on this work table. So let's have a look. Let's here add a microplate. So I'm clicking on the site again and it's showing me a list of possibilities. Let's add a 96 well flat microplate. I don't know if you can see that, but this one, for example, has that little lock symbol that I showed you in the presentation, meaning that this is locked from editing and will work out of the box without any teaching. The other ones, the ones without a lock symbol, will also work without teaching, but they can be edited because I don't have a lock symbol. So anyway, there's my plate. And let's also add some plates to the hotel, just the same ones. I will drag it in. And you see if you drag something, the software will highlight all the sites where it's allowed to go in green. So I'm dragging that into my hotel. And now the software has opened a new little tab for me. And this is because I'm dragging it into a multi-plate carrier, like a hotel or for a carousel, it would do the same thing. And now it allows me to say, okay, on these particular sites, I'll have a plate. So I can just say, okay, on sites 1 to 4, I have plates, and I'll give them a name. Let's call them destination. And I can change different things, orientation. I can also tell the software that the plates have a lid. Let's do that. Let's give them a lid. So I can now say apply and close. And then the plates have been put, you see, in my hotel with their lids. That's the red stuff. And that tab has been closed. So now that we have some labware to play around with, let's write a little script here. Let's use a smart command. So let's go to commands here, to the FCA, and let's use the reagent distribution smart command to put some buffer into this plate here. So I'll just drag this script onto the script editor section of the software. And then this smart command opens up like so, and I can add in different parameters. So let's say that we want to add 50 microliters of buffer to my plate, and I have to select where the reagent is. So I just click on one of the troughs, and then I have to say, okay, pipe it from that trough. And I also have to select my destination labware, which is this microplate. And let's say that I want to fill half of the plate with that buffer. And let's also use maybe the 200 microliter DT. Click on the work table. It's not happy about that. We can also select it from the list. So, and that's all we have to do. And now let me save this and run it. And I'll just quickly grab this little window. This is the 3D simulator that Fluent Control comes with. And just as a work table, you can drag it around, look at it. And this is how you can, even if you have no Fluent, like me in my guest room here in home office, you can still test your scripts. So let's put this one, stay on top, and let's run this script with the smart command. And now you see here in the background of Fluent Control, you can see that the software has created a smart subroutine with a lot of drop tips, get tips, as per dispense, etc. commands to execute the smart command. So I don't have to write that on my own. And you can see that it's done 3 columns already, and now it's doing the other 3 columns because I told it to use the 200 microliter tips. And that's all there is to it. And on the touch tools monitor, I was too late. So then it would have told me run finished without errors. So let's add some RGA commands as well here. Let's grab one of those destination plates from the hotel and put it on the work table. And then let's pretend that there are some interesting samples in this plate that I now want to pipe it into the destination plate. So for that, I can use another smart command, namely sample transfer. But first, let's get the plate out. So I go to the RGA part, in the control bar, and then I can use this transfer labware command. I drag it in, and I just go and select the destination plate 001 from the hotel. And the target location is just here on the work table on the nest next to that plate. And I don't have to tell the software anything about lids or anything. It will handle the lid automatically. You will see later. So plate is now out. And now I'm going back to my FCA command section, and I'm going to use the sample transfer smart command. And it's very similar to the reagent distribution smart command. Just give in a volume, maybe 25 microliters of sample. I have to tell the software what the source plate is. So the first microplate over there. Maybe I can just do 2 rows of samples, and the destination plate is the second plate here. And let's just do a copy. Let's just do 2 columns as well. And that's all there is to it. And then I'm going to use another sample transfer, transfer labware command to put this lab bar back into the hotel. I just select it, and I can in this command say simply back to base, and the software knows where it came from, and it will just put it back there. Okay, save. Now I want to show you this script, but I'm actually only interested in showing you the last 3 lines. I don't want to run this one again, it will take long. So if I'm testing a script and I only want to run a part of it, I can in Fluent Control. I can just right click this reagent distribution command line and disable it. And if I run the script now, it will just ignore that line, which is really nice for testing. So I'm saving it, grab the simulator and press run. So there we go. The RGA is grabbing the plate from the hotel, putting it on the nest. And you see it's automatically handling the lid. It's putting it back into the base where it can wait until it's needed again. And now for the sample transfer, I'm just transferring 2 columns. And because I'm using the smart command sample transfer, the software knows to exchange the tips in between each sample. So see it's dropping tips, getting fresh tips, and doing the second column. And again, it's made this kind of smart subroutine in the background. These are actually saved temporarily. So if you like one and want to play around with it, you can look at it and save it under a different name so that you have it for later. And that is how the software does it. See now the lid is coming back and the plate is going back into the hotel. There we go. Now we go back to edit mode. Something that I didn't show you explicitly is something also quite nice. If you're programming a script, the work table updates on the go. So now you see here at the beginning of my script, if I highlight the first line, everything is still in the hotel, all these plates. Here I'm going to, with this second line, I'm going to grab a plate out, right? So if I now go to the third line, highlight it, see the work table has updated to the state that it will be in when I'm at that line in the script. So the plate is actually already out there on the work table. Okay, good. I don't see any questions in the chat, but I didn't see the previous ones either. So I don't know, Jason or Adriana, if
another
question.
Questions are there unanswered. So
yeah, there was a couple more. One on if door locks are installed, can they be disabled in Fluent setup? I don't know the answer to that. I think we'd probably need to check that. No, we'd need to check and get back to yes, Dutis. And then the other question was, if we want to fill multiple plates from a hotel, how would we do it? If there should be separate lines for transfer and pipetting for every plate. Yeah, I mean, you can go on to make a loop to transfer a plate and fill it and put it back again and use a variable for the site and the transfer labware, right?
Exactly. Yeah, that's what you can do.
Great.
Okay, good. I think you've answered everything. Then I will continue with the slides. We don't have that much time left, unfortunately. So I'll just quickly continue. Where's this button here? Okay, so yeah, you can really program very, very nicely with Fluent Control. As I said, there is the 3D simulator that we've seen. So you can visualize the script before you run it in actuality. You can also quickly simulate the script with a fast simulation mode. But if you don't, if you run it in sort of real time, the timings are actually quite accurate of what a normal run on a real Fluent would be. But still, you have to, of course, be careful there. What is also really nice in Fluent Control is that we have restore points and a history, which is persistent even after closing the software, even after saving. And you can, with these restore points, you can restore an entire database back to a certain time point, or individual scripts only, or labware, and so on and so forth. And each run creates such a restore point before you execute the run, but you can also manually create one whenever you like. And then with the undo and redo function, you can see that in the picture down there below. So if you are working on a script or changing labware or carrier, you can always just undo if you made a mistake, which is really nice. Some of this I already showed you as well. We have some more advanced script development possibilities. So you can run script step-by-step mode, so it will pause after every step, which is really nice. Or as I showed you already, you can deactivate certain command lines that you don't want to have executed at that moment, or you can only run groups of them. You can also set a breakpoint after a certain number of lines if you want to sort of have the script pause there so that you can check something, and so forth. So it's really easy to script in Fluent Control with these tools. If you want to be really advanced in programming, we also offer the advanced programming interface, the Fluent API, which allows you to do whatever you like. You can write a custom software and control Fluent Control via the API. And we can offer a limited amount of support of that as well. Then some more things that I want to quickly mention that make Fluent Control really cool. So we already saw touch tools, of course. And these prompts, they are really highly customizable, as I mentioned. And here's just an example of a standard rich user prompt, we call these. And this is how you would then program one and make like really simple instructions for the operator. And that are very visual. The liquid class editors are also really nice. We have sort of two parts in there, a very graphical, easy to understand part, which is called easy control. And up here you see easy control for the aspirate and easy control for the dispense parts of the liquid class. And it's just very visual. You can play around with the parameters and it shows you graphically what that does at pipetting. And if you want to go really, really far into liquid handling, you can have a look at the macro script. So this is really line by line, what is going to happen at runtime if this liquid class is used. And if you are a very advanced user, this gives you incredible control of liquid handling. We also have a very advanced and elegant way of defining labware dimensions. So it looks like this. You can really customize everything. You can get very, very close to the real dimensions, which of course then helps with accurate estimations of volumes during runtime. What is also quite nice with Fluent Control is that we can offer or that we can group multiple troughs together. So the software knows, okay, in this set of troughs, there's the same reagent. So that will allow you to be able to walk away for a longer time. And it's just, you can use it by just simply checking a box in an aspirate command, use next to an empty, and then the software will just use the next trough and the next trough and the next trough until all of the troughs of that certain group with that certain reagent inside are empty. And only then will the run pause and will you have to do an intervention as an operator. So moving on to some things a little bit out of the software itself. Fluent Control comes with an audit trail where all the changes to electronic records are recorded. They are easy to read CSV files. They're protected from editing, obviously, and they just record things like who logged in, who logged out, what methods were running, all the user inputs that was given during a run, errors, and so on and so forth. Then there are some more tools like the data audit tool. This actually requires you to have a Fluent GX license. And this one is very useful if you work in highly regulated environments, and it can kind of verify the electronic record status for a given time range, and it just checks if all the records that should be there are there, if they are valid, if they have not been modified, if there are no extra files suddenly appearing, if there are no files missing, and it can create a report about that as well. Something that I quickly mentioned at the very first demo is that you can be prompted to do system care. So you saw that orange flashing system care button in my Touch Tools interface. And this is something you can actually set up yourself. So for each maintenance method, you can kind of schedule it like Outlook appointments. You can say, okay, it needs to be done every day at 9 or whenever, and you can even enforce its execution. So you can kind of lock the Fluent. Nothing can be run until that particular maintenance method has been executed. So this makes it very easy to ensure that your instrument is well taken care of on a regular basis. We also offer user management. This again requires a Fluent GX license. And this just offers all the things you would expect from user management: password settings. You can define different user levels with different rights. You can customize those rights. You can even assign specific methods to specific users, so that certain users can only run a limited set of the methods that you have available, for example. If you have user management available and enabled, you can also switch on the electronic signatures feature. And this allows you to track any change that is made, which is then visible in the audit trail. And the person who is making that change will be prompted and has to enter a reason, just type in a reason of what they've changed, and then sign it by entering their password. So this is quite useful for, again, regulated environments. Another sort of extension of that is method approval that we offer. So the users with appropriate rights can release certain methods, and then operators, or sort of lower level users, may only run methods that have been approved. And if something like an item that's used in such an approved method has been changed, so maybe in a method, I don't know, a microplate has been switched for a different type of microplate, the software knows that, and then the method loses the approved status, and the key operator or the admin has to go back in and reapprove it. And until that is done, nobody can run it that doesn't have the appropriate higher level rights. Okay, and then also something that comes with a Fluent GX license is sample tracking. And sample tracking sort of keeps track of where samples go during a run, because it is registering where they are at the beginning of a run in a database, and then while the run is running, sort of seeing, okay, the sample is pipetted from here to there in that concentration or that volume. Maybe there was a pipetting error, it's recording that as well, and tracking the samples throughout the run. And at the end of the run, you are able to generate a report about certain labware or about all of your labware on the work table, and you can see what has happened to which sample and where it ended up and in which volume, if there maybe was an error at runtime with that sample, and so on and so forth. I'm going quite quickly because I realize we don't have much time anymore. Let's just quickly go through these slides. There's also a really nice search function in Fluent Control in the info pad. You can search for part numbers. You can also just search for certain words, and it will return anything that matches that word that you gave in. So it might be a script line, it might be the name of a script, it might be the name of a carrier. So you can really, really easily find what you need, and then also directly use it from that results list in the info pad. So really, if you're looking for, I don't know, this particular script, you can drag it out of here into the work table, and then it will open. We can skip this one. I've already showed you the tabbed interface. I've already hopefully showed you and convinced you that it's very modern. There are no pop-ups and so on and so forth. And then maybe this is quite nice to mention as well, that there is a shared database that is used by both the Fluent setup software, so used by the engineers in the field to set up the instrument and do QC, and Fluent Control itself. And this is actually why the system is teach-free after installation. Yeah, and there are many, many more things that I can talk to you about, but we are running out of time. So let's just quickly go to this slide. Just to tell you that we at Product Management, we are continuously improving Fluent Control, and at the moment we are on a 2 release per year cycle. So each year we have 2 releases, typically at the end of the year and in the middle of the year, where we bring out a new version of Fluent Control, which contains bug fixes and improvements and new things and so on and so forth. And what we typically do is we release it first in what we call early access release. That's for about 8 weeks. And then we kind of track who gets the software with the idea that we can then very directly get feedback from people using it in the field, and then see if they're happy with it and give them very direct help. And then we go into general release for everybody else. Okay, that was quite quick at the end. Still, I can't see any questions myself, so I don't know, Jason, Adriana, if there have been more.
No, there haven't been any more. Thank you very much for the.
Are there? Yeah, thank you as well for listening. If there are questions that come up later, please email us, me or Adriana or Jason, and we will get back to you as soon as we can. Sorry about the time of this webinar once more. And then just as an outlook, the next 2 sessions will be about the Fluent Control Scheduler, which Jason will talk about, and then another one about Introspect and Decon Connect that Michelle will talk to you about. Good.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Rachel, and thank you very much, everyone, for attending and waiting. I apologize for this little technical issue, but I am very happy to see a high level of attendance and that you were very kind to wait. As Rachel said, in the following 2 months, we will have some webinars regarding the Fluent Control, the Scheduler, and the Introspect. Stay tuned. If you have more questions, please let us know. And you see, so the time came very short. So this is important to let you know how important a training could be. You could be watching more of this, and also in contact with our trainers and product management team. Just want you to remember that in our continuous learning with Tican, so on Thursday we will have another webinar regarding the Spark Saito and D300. So I hope to see you all on Thursday. I will send also a reminder, and if there is anything else about this webinar, thank you very much for coming. Have a happy ending of the month and have a happy week. So thank you very much. See you soon. Take care.
Great. Thanks a lot, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you all. Bye-bye. Have a good day.